Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining our webinar. Today, we'll be taking you through the details and the demo of a Timbeter solution, how you can capture various details with Timbeter like log count, total diameters, average diameters, individual diameters, as well as volume and density. Before we get started, I would just like to quickly introduce myself. I am Jyotsna and I'm the sales manager at Timbeter. We will have the webinar for 30 minutes total, around 20 minutes for us to present, and you can ask your questions in the end, if any. So just to give you a little bit of a brief intro about Timbeter, basically Timbeter is a round wood measurement solution. It comprises of two options. First is an app, which is available on your Play Store or App Store. And second is a cloud-based storage module, which helps you to manage all the data digitally and view all of the data in one place. So as some of you might know, Timbeter is a digital solution to manage and measure timber related work. And this is used by various companies from across the forestry industry. For example, even state forests or private forest owners or even forest product companies are all the right clients for us. We work with various customers from across the world, starting from Latin America to US, Canada, and also in Europe and Asia. So let's get started without further delay. So as and when you download the Timbeter app from the Play Store or App Store, this is the home screen that you would see on your phone. And I will tell you basically how to capture basic details with the app. And post that, I will also give you a little bit of brief about how you can access the storage module for your cloud-based storage. So to get started, first, we have to just go to start measuring. When you have the pile of wood in front of you, pile of logs in front of you, be it it's on the log yard or it's on the truck, you can simply just go to start measuring and click the picture. So before you do that, you have to make sure that you have at least a 1 meter long stick with you or any scale of minimum 1 meter. If in case you have a larger pile of logs in front of you, we suggest to use a larger or a longer reference stick. Without this reference stick, which is kept in front of the pile, the Timbeter app will not be able to determine the correct proportions of the pile. And so even though you will get the results, but they may not be very accurate. So that's the first thing important before you start with the Timbeter measurement process. Now, when you click on start measuring, what happens is, if you see on the left hand side, this is the angle, and it means that when you are taking the picture of the pile in front of you, the phone has to be held parallel with the pile. So the moment you keep the phone at a 90 degrees angle, it will actually turn to green instead of red. And that means then you can actually take a picture at that moment. And secondly, you also have the option to increase or decrease the brightness from here. There are times when there is a shadow covering a part of the pile, or it's some part of the pile is not visible clearly. You can always increase the brightness or decrease if required, and it gives you the clear details of the whole pile. Besides that, we also have the single image or panorama option. For example, we always recommend to use the single image mode as much as possible. So what happens if there is a pile which is in front of you and it is okay and it's big enough to be covered in a single shot, you can definitely take a single shot of that. But if in case you have a very large pile in front of you and it is very difficult for you to take a single shot of the whole pile in one go, in that case, we recommend to use the panorama option, which is this one. And when you click on panorama option, you can actually take multiple shots like this. All you have to make sure is that this green line is actually aligned with the bottom of the pile. And with this green line, you have to move along the pile and take multiple shots as you go. Once you're done with all the shots in of the pile, it will give you the total picture, the complete picture in one go, and also you will get to see the results at the end for the entire pile. Now let's go back to the home screen. Right, so I will show you the view results section a little bit later. Let's first go to the tutorial option. Now, tutorial is an option that we have created for users who find it difficult. Of course, there might be times when you're not on the log yard and you don't have access to a set of pictures or set of piles in front of you. You can always still get a hang of Timbitor by just going to tutorial and trying these various options. So it already has a couple of pictures loaded in here, and it will give you the idea about what steps to take in order to get the correct results. Okay, so first option is the diameter measurement, which gives you the details of the diameters of each and every log. It also gives you the total volume of the pile and also gives you the number of logs in the pile. So before we get started, I will just explain you how to arrive at this option. So when you are at the home screen and you're done with clicking the picture of the pile, the next step is for you to select which measurement regime you want to go ahead with. So the first option which you see there would be the diameter measurement. So first, when you select the diameter option, you can actually calculate the diameters, and based on the diameters and the length, it gives you the total volume by taking the selected formula that you have selected from Timbitor app. Now, these formulas, including the cylindrical method, are different volume formulas that we have listed on the app, which are most commonly used across the world. So for example, by default, you will see the cylindrical method, which is this one. And based on this, you will get the total volume of the pile. Besides this, we also have a JAS method, which is mostly used in Asian markets. And then there are other formulas like Hoppus method and so on. So whichever formula suits you the best and it's being used by your region or your company, you can always select that particular formula and get the results based on that. Now let's click on continue. This is the reference stick which I was talking about. You have to have a minimum of 1 meter length stick here, and you need to keep this in front of the pile before taking the picture. Now, if in case this pile is slightly larger, or if there are too many logs in the pile, we suggest to have actually the reference stick larger than 1 meter as well. If in case it's not, then at least 1 meter is definitely required. Now, in the next step, what we see is after you take the picture, these are some of the details that you would have to enter. So first is the reference size. So for example, if you have taken a 1 meter reference stick, then just keep it as 100 centimeters. If in case it's longer than that, please make sure that you add the exact length of the reference here as well. Second is the tree species. So for example, if you have eucalyptus or you have pine or any other species, just make sure to select the relevant tree species from here for easy data management. The next is the log length. So this is the average length of the logs in the pile. You can always put this and also see this description. So it is only the average length of the logs in the measurement stack. Now, the third or fourth thing is a volume formula. So which is the same from option that I told you. By default, it is given a cylindrical method, but you can always change it to the other methods if needed. Now, we will go ahead, click on save. Now, in this screen, we will see how to match this red line. Now, if you do not do this step correctly, it will not give you accurate results. So this step is very, very crucial. So make sure it's aligned correctly with the reference stick in the picture. Many people forget to do that. And then click on next. Now, in this step, we see that there are various piles in the background. So if you're on the log yard, there are times when there are multiple piles in the view. So there are, like in this case, there are 2 other piles which are also getting captured. So what we can do here is we can always select only the central pile so that the measurement results are only specific to this pile and not for the entire logs in the picture. Because when we are calculating the volume of the pile, and if it's showing us not the result specific to this one, then it may not be very useful for us. So this step is also very crucial to make sure that you only measure one pile at a time. How to do that? Just drag these circles and pull it to match with the outline of the pile. And that's it. And click on next. Now, in this case, you can see in this step that there are times when one or two logs might get missed out still because of, say, some shadows or something, some picture not getting captured properly. You can always fine tune these little details at this step. So all you need to do is tap on the screen and you can increase or reduce the size by clicking on this option. And then you can reposition by clicking on this. Now, as you can see, this one is not selected by mistake. There is no log here. You can just tap on this and get it removed. Now, this log you can see is not captured at all. So you can always tap on this again and select it. Again, if you need to change it, increase or decrease the size, just make sure to do that. And then click on next. And that's it. You have the complete measurement results on the left-hand side. First we see is the volume, which is 9.65 cubic meters. And this volume is, if you click on this, it will also give you the details of the log count here as well. Otherwise, then it also gives you the details of the diameters. If you see, average diameter is 25.52 centimeters. If you click on the average diameter here, it will give you the complete details of every log. How many on each centimeter, how many logs are there in that range. And as you have selected the cylindrical formula in this case, so all the diameters are rounded to the nearest integer. However, it can change based on the formula. Every formula has its own rules. So based on that, it gets changed. Now click on OK. And this slider is actually very important for companies who are looking to only select a certain range of diameters. So for example, there are some companies who, for them, taking diameters of logs of lesser than 3 centimeter or say more than 15 centimeters are not relevant. So those ones can be easily filtered out by using the slider. You can simply drag it to the right range and you can see how many logs are in that range. So out of 62 logs, you can say, you can see here that 16 logs are in this range of diameters. So this clearly gives you an idea about what is the clarity and what is the quality of the stacks in front of you. As you can see, also the other details that we have captured all are visible here. And also, if we see here, by mistake, this one log from the pile in the background has been selected. So what we need to do is, in this case, if you have selected by mistake, you can always measure it again. Instead of starting a new measurement, you can simply click on measure again and click on edit existing. So if you click on new measurement, it will of course start a new measurement. But if you click on edit existing, you can simply just go to the contour option and select only the pile which is in the center instead of selecting any of the other logs. And that's it. So coming to the home screen now, let's go to the second option in the tutorial. So this is a second option, which is to identify the density coefficient of a pile. For example, in a lot of forest products companies, for example, who deal with pulpwood, especially like eucalyptus wood and so on, for them it becomes very important to know the quality of the wood or quality of the stack, meaning how much amount of wood is present in the pile, what's the density of the pile. So this coefficient, if you already have of your own, can be used to determine the total volume. However, if you do not have, this density option can be used, which is the fourth option which appears on your mobile app after you click the picture. Now, Let's see how this can be done. Now, this is a sample picture that we have taken. And if you have this pile on the ground or on the truck, you can simply just take the picture from the back end of it, where you have the logins visible, and then click on continue. Now here we can see that all the basic details are here. We have not selected automatic contour here, which means that you will have to manually select the area inside the pile, inside the picture, where you think that the density coefficient would be most accurately determined. So let's click on save. Now this is the picture and the logs are captured directly. Just click on next. Now in this screen, you will see that you have to mark, since you have to manually mark the area, I can select this area, for example, because this area gives me a clear idea about the overall density of the picture. So I don't need to select necessarily the full contour. I can simply select a part of the pile and then click on next. Now this area has been selected by default, but if you need to still edit it a little bit, you can do that and then click on next. And you're done. So you can see the results on the left side. It shows that it's the pile density coefficient is 0.6248, which means that 62% of the pile is consisting of wood in this case. So basically this has to be multiplied by 100 and it will give you the percentage of the pile, of the wood in the pile. Now, if you have this detail and if in case you have selected the automatic contour, by default, it will take the full contour of the pile and you don't have to manually select this area and it will give you the density coefficient based on the whole area marked. Now this can be done on the truck or on the ground as well if you have the pile on the ground. Once you have this density coefficient, you can just come to the main screen again to get the total volume. Yeah. So as you can see, these are the 4 options available. The first is the diameter, which we just saw. The second option is the density measurement, which we saw just now. The third is the contour. So for example, you calculated the density coefficient already. And what do you do with that? So you can always come to the contour option and you can mention the 62% or whatever pile coefficient that you have. Based on that, it will give you the total volume. The third or the fourth option is the truck option. So this gives you the idea to get the total volume of the logs on the trucks from the side of the logs as well. This can also be easily determined by putting in the pile density coefficient. And if you have multiple loads, so for example, you have on a single truck, there's sometimes more than 2 or 3 loads at one go. So you can actually capture the entire details of all the loads in one go by adding, for example, we have 3 loads. We will add 3 columns here and we can enter the details here as well. You just have to enter the log length and the log width and you can capture the total details or the total volumes of the total loads on the truck. Now, these are the 4 measurement regimes which we saw. When we come to the view results section, you can actually see all the older measurements that you have done so far listed here. You can always edit them if needed. You can measure them again if needed. All the pictures will be saved here always. Besides that, one more important thing is there is an advanced field option as well. If you click on when you're taking a picture and entering the data, you can select incoming or outgoing as well. So when you select that, for example, particularly for the companies who are measuring incoming or outgoing trucks, you can always select this option and it will give you a clear idea about the inventories. So this information can be easily reported and shared within your peers as well. Now, coming back to the data, as you can see, all this information is on your phone, but if in case you need to share it with other people in your organization or even need to download any reports, all you need to do is log into www.timbeter.com and you can simply see all the information available there. If, for example, this app you're using on your own phone, but there are 4 or 5 other people or whoever else is using Timeter on other devices, you can connect all those devices to one account, and you can see all the measurements in one place from timeter.com, which is the storage module. Now, that Timeter storage module also gives you the option to edit any of these measurements. Of course, only the admin would be able to do so. You can always define different roles for different people in the company. And you can also capture details like different assortments can be created, different storages can be created, and you can actually create different diameter profiles as well. You can then download all these reports instantly within a click of in Excel format or PDF format, etc. And you can also define a lot of company specific details. Now, I will not be taking you through the demo of the storage module today because we have a separate webinar already, which you can access from our webinars page. You can simply go and look at it. For larger organizations, storage module is a very, very important feature because it is not the whole process doesn't end at measuring timber. It is also about measurement or management of that data and making sure that you are able to view all your inventories in one place and all your storages in one place. So that's where storage module comes in very handy. If you have any questions, we can always interact with you. Our support team is available. You can, from this chat option, you can reach out to us. Also, once you download the app, you would have 10 free measurements already available to you. However, we can also offer you a free organizational trial, which is offers you unlimited amount of measurements for a week or so, which can be enabled for you, and you can actually connect multiple devices and try out and evaluate our solution end to end to make sure that when it gets rolled out for your entire company, you already have all the results in place. For example, what is the Timeter's accuracy, what is how good it is, and how it can help for your processes specifically. So during this trial, our team handholds you, trains you with all the information needed, and make sure that you have a good experience using Timeter during the free trial. If you want us to enable this free trial, please feel free to send us an email at info@timeter.com, or you can also write to us at support@timeter.com, and we'll be happy to be in touch with you. So this is majorly it from our side about the product. We are happy to take any questions if you have. Thank you so much.
If you have any questions, you can write them in the chat window that we have here. We can see that you, as Jyotsna just mentioned in her presentation, we have other webinars in our website. One of them is for specifically for the web platform, which we call a storage module. This web platform is also useful if you are working with software such as SAP or other softwares for auditing or for also for sales. So you can export the information coming from Timeter to these systems, integrating them through an API. We have several customers around the world that are using this functionality. So we are also available if you have any questions regarding the API, the use of the API and integration with other systems. I can see that there are some questions. So we have a question regarding the the lengths of the pieces. Jyotsna?
Yeah. Thank you for your question, Mr. David, and also Mr. Rambir. So the thing with the log lengths is that basically all these formulas that we have regarding the volume, they all consider only the average length of logs. So, for example, you do not need to have specific lengths of all logs. You just need to have an overall average length. Usually, when you procure the timber logs from any of your suppliers, or if you're harvesting yourself, you would have an average idea when you are cutting the logs or when you're procuring. The basic average length always, as per the pile, is always available. In the truck measurement per se, you can also mark the width of the load. So that clearly tells you about the average length, and you can actually get the total volume based on that. So Timbeter specifically doesn't need you to do any specific measurements for log length. All you need is an average length of the total number of logs in the pile. Regarding the second question about the Hoppus method, we have the option for the Hoppus method as well. You can try that. You can select it. There are two options. One is for Hoppus Imperial, and other is Hoppus Metric. And yes, so basically it also, when you select this Hoppus method, it takes the taper of the log into account. So because Timbeter takes the picture from only one end of the log, it actually considers the taper or the the slight change in the diameter along the length of the log into consideration, and then gives you the total volume of the logs. So basically, at the end of the day, the results, what we suggest is, during the trial, our customers usually measure logs with different formulas, and then they compare the results with your other measurement methods, like manual method or something else. So this Hoppus method's details and results are also very much comparable and better than the manual methods. As when it comes to manual methods, the average accuracy that we have seen is only around 85 to 90%. But with Timbeter, the accuracy increases to around 99.5%. So the Timbeter has been certified for its accuracy levels of 0.5 to 1.5%. So you can always get in touch. We can have a call to discuss further about your queries if you have any more questions, of course. And we can specifically answer the questions for your company, basically depending on the kind of operations that you have. If you're using the Hoppus method or something else, we can always discuss specific to your requirements and how Timbeter works on that, of course. So I will, of course, be in touch with you all soon after the webinar ends, but we are happy to answer more questions here.
I would like to also add that we are working at the moment with companies in Costa Rica with a project that we have there with the government, and we are working with the companies in that country, and they measure TIC with using Timbeter. Using different regimes, as Jyotsna was explaining. So if you would like to know a little bit more about that experience with measuring TIC, that's also something that so we have experience working with that specific species. Also, there in the chat, you can find the list, the link for other webinars that we have. Here in this webinar, we didn't touch on other solutions that we have. We have another solution for exporters. We also have features that read QR codes, which are very interesting for companies that are using the QR codes to follow the origin of the logs, and also to follow them throughout the logistic chain. So if you are also interested in that, you can also write to us and ask us. Jyotsna, I think we have another question.
Yeah, I just was going to answer that. So, Mr. David has asked that if you have any documents control or application to track logs to be sawn timber. Yes, definitely. So we have various ways of tracking timber. Basically, what Carlos just mentioned, we have another option called the QR codes. And also, like I earlier mentioned in the chat, I'm not sure if everyone got to see it, but basically, when any measurement is captured with Timbeter, it also takes the location of the measurement into account. So if in case you want to track, many companies use that location as a reference, that from what position the logs were harvested or they have been received at a particular location, and then how much amount of it is received at the other end. So all this tracking can be easily done. The QR code option gives you the option to actually track those details in a much better way. You can actually have a clear-cut idea about each and every log when you have the QR codes placed on them, and Timbeter easily reads all the data that you capture in the QR codes. So I can definitely, you can have a look at the webinars, and we can also provide you a demo of QR codes as per request. So one thing that I would like to do is you can, if you all have downloaded the app, if not, then just go ahead and give it a try, and try with the few measurements. Okay, so are you talking about the trial, free trial? Okay, so I can probably call you after this webinar, and we can help you out to understand it in a better way, I guess.
So after this webinar, you will receive an email, and in this email, you will get the link for the recording of this session. Also, a reminder that if you are interested in a free pilot, as explained by Jyotsna, you can write to info@timbeter.com. But you also, as for attending or registering to this webinar, if you register a new account and use a promo code webinar20, you will get automatically 20 measurements instead of the 10 that we regularly give for new registrations. But as Jyotsna said, you can write to us at info@timbeter.com, and we can, if you have more questions, or if you want to start this pilot, you can also do it that way. Jyotsna, do you have anything else to add?
No, nothing from my side. I just wanted to thank everyone for attending the webinar and for asking questions. Of course, we are happy to answer any further questions if needed. And yeah, thanks, Carlos, from your side as well.
Yes, no problem. And you can also find us in LinkedIn. There we publish interviews with some of our customers. One of the latest ones was with a company in South Africa, and they use Timbeter for the audits, and also another interview not so long ago with a company in Laos. And they use it. They use the information, among other things, to inform their grow their grow models that they have for their plantations. So thank you for being with us today, and we hope you have a good day, and hope to see you in other events that we do. Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.